the great thing about economics is it really gives you the confidence to understand how financial markets work, how financial products work, that there is no such thing as a free lunch. So you don't fall for obvious scams. Like, if this really was paying 80% a month, like, yeah, why are they selling it to me? All of those things. And I think there's that confidence in numbers, confidence in being able to parse technical claims. But at the same time, studying economics really makes you aware of quite how wrong people can be, in particular economists. Economists can be wrong really badly. I mean, do you mind if I tell you a story about my favourite economist, John Maynard Keynes?
Go for it.
That's my favourite one too now, listening to you.
I'm going to point out, though, that we just gave you a free lunch. So.
Okay. Yeah.
You sat out there and ate that before we recorded.
I didn't pay for the lunch directly, but
your time,
I'm paying
your
for it
presence
now.
is a present.
I am paying for it now. So there we go. We'll see. We'll see how high the price is. Irving Fisher, John Maynard Keynes. So Keynes is super famous. If you've ever heard of an economist, John Maynard Keynes is probably the one. Economists still divide themselves up into the Keynesians and whatever it is the other lot call themselves. Irving Fisher was an American economist, about 15 years older than Keynes, and he was the most famous economist on the planet in his day. And he was very active basically from about 1910 to about 1940. So we're talking between the wars. And what fascinates me about both of these guys is they were amazing academic economists, hugely respected, but they're also rich men. And one of the reasons they were rich is because of their investment savvy. So they're very interested in the idea that by using their economic theories, they can make better forecasts. And by making better forecasts, they could make money. So far, so good. The problem is what happened to them. So over the 1920s, Irving Fisher builds his fortune in the United States on selling his economic statistics and his economic forecasts to the masses. So he's got this newspaper page, it's a syndicated page, Irving Fisher's business page, and it's full of Irving Fisher's insight. And what he's telling people is, and this may sound familiar, America is going through a technology boom. There are these new technologies, they're boosting the productivity of American companies. And at the time, the technologies he's thinking of are electrification, bulk chemical processing, the internal combustion engine. He's basically saying to American consumers, American investors, grab yourself a slice of this, borrow some money, buy shares. And he's doing this in the most public way possible. And for a long time, it works really well. The stock market goes up and up and up and up and up until it doesn't, which is what the stock market does. And there's a crash in 1929. It's still called the Great Crash. It's the most famous financial crisis in history. And the Dow Jones Industrial Average falls 89%. So if you had $100 invested in the market, you've got $11 at the end of it, which is, that's not the kind of crash we normally see in shares today.
And if you borrowed, maybe you're in a real bad place.
Oh yeah,
people did. Yeah,
yeah. You borrowed $100, put it in the market, lost $89. You've got $11 left, and you owe somebody $100. Yeah. You've got a problem. So that was what happened to Fisher. Fisher, and as I say, he's incredibly well known. So one person blamed the crash on the president, the Treasury Secretary, and Irving Fisher. Like, he's that famous. He, on the front page of the New York Times 2 weeks before the crash began, he said stocks have reached a new and permanently high plateau. So it's this incredibly public forecast. And Fisher's basically wiped out by this, completely wiped out. But what interests me is the contrast with Keynes. So Keynes is also interested in investing. I mean, he has an amazing investment. I don't want to get too diverted, but he's got like wartime escapades, destroyers escorting him across the channel to bid in an art auction in Paris, with the German army shelling Paris, in disguise, with the head of the National Gallery. I mean, he's doing crazy.
He was a bit of a rock star, wasn't he?
He was a legend.
He was crazy.
He lived one of those crazy lives.
My favourite quotes you gave me were... one, he said, "This high-risk gambling amuses me."
Yeah, he writes to his father. This high, win or lose, this high-stakes gambling amuses me.
Legend. And then also, the only regret in my life is not drinking more champagne.
Exactly.
My kind of guy.
Yeah.
Love him. From that on, I'm like, he's my favourite.
Yeah, and his love life, it wasn't like a 1920s economist. It was like a
star.
1970s rock star. It was, yeah. Anyway, he makes a fortune, he loses a fortune, he makes another fortune. He knows everyone. He's getting phone calls from the Bank of England saying, oh, yes, Maynard. Yeah, interest rates going up tomorrow. There's a good chap. So he absolutely knows everything about how the economy works. But his investment strategy is pretty simple. He is going to predict recessions and booms. And he's going to move into the kind of sectors of the market that do well in recessions before there's a recession. So, if you're a bankruptcy lawyer, you're going to do well if there's a recession. So you invest in bankruptcy lawyers. And then when there's going to be a boom, you go to the really, really cyclical stocks that do really, really well when there's a boom. He'll just do that. That's the strategy. And that's going to work brilliantly as long as you can predict when the recessions are going to be. So that's Keynes. And he's doing this at the same time as Fisher's over in America with his business page. Now, Keynes basically makes the same fundamental forecasting error as Fisher. He doesn't see the Wall Street crash coming either. And the Wall Street crash is followed by the Great Depression. I mean, this is the most important peacetime financial and economic event probably ever, certainly for a quarter of a millennia. And these two guys, they're the two best guys in the field. They don't see it coming. But Keynes dies a millionaire.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Fisher, he's wiped out financially. His reputation is destroyed. Keynes, by the end of the Second World War, he is at Bretton Woods, this great hotel. He is working with all the diplomats and the senior economists in the world. They are building the World Bank. They are building the International Monetary Fund. They're building the post-war economic order. And Keynes is right at the heart of it. And at the end of that conference, there's this big banquet. And Keynes is the last man to enter the room, and everyone in the banqueting hall stands up to give him a standing ovation for just for being John Maynard Keynes. He's that famous. He's that successful. So
Damo's dreaming of him. He's like, this is me one day. He's like, I will get there.
But hang on, he made the same mistake as Irving Fisher. So how come he gets all the good stuff? How come he died so rich? And the basic answer is that Keynes changed his mind, and Fisher didn't change his mind. So then you go, well, so what do you mean he changed his mind? Well, he changed his investment strategy. But then you go, well, why did he change his investment strategy, and why did Fisher not? And I think the simple answer is Fisher was telling everybody about his investment strategy. It's on the front page of the New York Times. He's totally associated with it. So he can't back out. Whereas Keynes is doing it in private. He's investing on behalf of a Cambridge college. And actually, by the time the Wall Street crash comes, Keynes is looking at his investment performance and going, this is actually not that great. Just privately, he writes to a friend, I think I'm about 20% behind the market over the last few years. So he's ready to change. He's got that humility. He's got that acknowledgement that he hasn't done a great job. And so when the crash hits, which he didn't forecast, but when it hits, he's ready to move. He's ready to change. So that's part of it. But I think the other is just they were different characters. And I think there's something in this for all of us. And it goes to that quote about win or lose, this high stakes gambling amuses me. He realized there's an element of luck, that investing, it's not gambling actually, but it's not completely controllable either. You can't do what Fisher loved to do, which was to crunch all the numbers, to analyze everything, to look at all the data, to get every angle, and then basically to go, right, I know what's going to happen, because you don't know what's going to happen. And Keynes always acknowledged that. He always acknowledged there was a bit of risk. And if he lost a fortune, he's done it before. Nobody's perfect. So there's this really famous line that actually Keynes never said, but everyone says he said it. And I think they say that because he lived it, which is when the facts change, I change my opinion.
That was a clip from our full-length conversation with economist Tim Harford. If you want to check out the full thing, you can watch it right here.